25th Avenue. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
Present.
Trustee Tierney.
Here.
Trustee Jones is absent. Mayor Thompson.
Here.
Trustee Horn.
Present.
Trustee Abraham.
Here.
And Trustee Brown Marino is absent. Mayor, you do have a quorum. Can we all please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance? Can we all please have a moment of silence? Thank you. Just a couple of quick housekeeping items. Number one, just to let everyone know we are being live streamed currently. Just for communications. Just let me remind the audience, this is the regular board meetings, business meeting, and any private conversations that you must have amongst yourself, please take it to the chamber, or outside the chambers into the hallway, because sometimes it's disturbing and we are recording, and it does distract. Madam President, item 2, public comments.
Thank you, Ms. Deborah Bonds.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, and the citizens of Broadview. I just wanted to, first of all, say thank you for supporting me and my family during the passing of my husband. And secondly, I wanted to thank the Chief of Police and Commander Koska for taking the charge for the torch run for the Special Olympics. We have several families that live in Broadview that participated in the torch run and participated in Special Olympics, and actually they went downstate this weekend. They won several gold medals and bronze medals and I think a couple of silver medals. So I just wanted to thank you guys for your continued support, and Broadview is definitely a model for Proviso Township for special needs individuals, so we just thank you.
Ms. Doreen Gordon.
Hi, Doreen Gordon, 2416 South 14th Avenue. I just wanted to give you an update on the Walk to Defeat ALS. The total funds that they raised to date are $451,433. And you guys, I want to thank you all. You helped put some money in there. So anybody who still wants to make a contribution to ALS, please feel free to do that. ALS Association, and you can either hand it to me a check, or also we can send it direct down to ALS Association. But I want to thank everybody in Broadview who works to help all of our charities that we support. Thank you all.
Okay, next item on the agenda, item 3, communications. I have one. This is a filming notification. I'm going to read the memo and summary. Dear resident business owner, Samakin LLC is proposing to film scenes of a commercial titled Checkers at 1617 West Roosevelt Road, Broadview, Illinois, in your neighborhood. The date is going to be June 19th and June 20th. Hours approximately 3 p.m. to 3:30 a.m. On 6/19, and then 5 p.m. to 5:30 a.m. approximately on 6/20. A brief description is they're going to have handheld equipment on property, exterior shots, exterior dialogue, etc. If you have any questions or concerns regarding this request, please contact the production company or the location manager at the numbers provided below, and those will be available for the public later. Madam President, that concludes communications. Item 4.
Madam President, I move that we move the agenda out of order and go directly to item 8A. Need a second?
I second it.
Okay, so it's been properly motioned by Trustee Ely, seconded by Trustee Tierney, to move the regular board meeting order, what did you say, 8?
8.
We're gonna go out of order and go to 8A. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we're now at new business, item 8A. A resolution congratulating firefighter Kelly Johnson for her service to the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Horn. Madam President, open for discussion.
The purpose of this resolution is to congratulate firefighter Kelly Johnson for her service to the village. I'm going to read the resolution, for a resolution congratulating firefighter Kelly Johnson for her service to the village of Broadview, county of Cook, state of Illinois, whereas the village president and the board of trustees of the village congratulate firefighter Kelly Johnson for 20 years of service to the village of Broadview. And whereas firefighter Johnson gave the village of Broadview Fire Department 20 years of distinguished service as a firefighter for the village, and during that time she also served as an honor guard in Division 20, and the village president and the board of trustees, with the president, the corporate authorities, desire to honor firefighter Johnson for her career of public service. And whereas based on 4.1, the corporate authorities have determined that it is necessary and appropriate to congratulate firefighter Johnson for her years of dedicated service to the village and its residents. Now there be resolved by the president and the village board of Broadview, county of Cook, state of Illinois, as follows. All of the recitals herein before stated as continued in the preambles to the resolution are full, true, and correct, and the corporate authorities do hereby, by reference, incorporate and make them as legislative findings. The village board hereby congratulates firefighter Johnson for her years of dedicated service to the village. The village officials and staff are hereby directed to take such action as is necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. The resolution shall be effective in full force immediately upon its passage and approval. Resolved by the village board, the village of Broadview, Cook County, on the 18th day of June, 2018, pursuant to a roll call vote as follows. Trustee Eaton?
Yes.
Trustee Terry?
Yes.
Trustee Booth?
Yes.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes.
And the motion carries 4-0.
Congratulations on your retirement.
I just quickly want to say Kelly was the first female Broadview Fire Department. Being the first meant she paved the way for other females. Kelly's sense of humor, you can't do that too, made it easier for women
Okay, next item on the agenda.
Oh, Madam President, I move that we go back to the regular order of business.
Okay, it's been properly motioned by trustee Ely, seconded by trustee Tierney to move the order of business back to the regular order. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we are now at item 4. Item 4, consideration to approve the following minutes from the June 4th, 2018 regular board meeting that were tabled from the last meeting.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Horn, seconded by trustee Tierney. Madam President, open for discussion.
Trustee Ely,
No comments.
trustee Tierney,
No comment.
trustee Horn,
Nothing.
trustee Abraham,
None.
Okay, roll call. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Brum Marino is absent. Madam President, that carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda. Minutes from the June 11th, 2018 special meeting.
Make a motion to accept the minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Tierney, seconded by trustee Horn. Madam President, open for discussion.
trustee,
No comment.
trustee Tierney,
No comment.
trustee Horn,
Nothing.
trustee Abraham,
None.
Roll call. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Jones is absent. Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Brown Marino is absent. That carries 4-0, Mayor. Next item on the agenda. Item 5, consideration to approve expenditures. Grand total of all funds, $68,551.29.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Been properly motioned by trustee Horn, seconded by trustee Abraham. Madam President, this is open for discussion.
trustee Horn, would you read the warrant list?
Alfred G. Ronan, 4,000. Baker Tilly Virchow Cross, 9,000. F.E. Moran Incorporated Mechanical Service, 2,703.85. Hector Perez, 3,250. Lourdes Ortega, 4,268. Norcom Public Safety, what'd I say? I said Hector Perez, what did I say? Let me start over. Alfred G. Ronan, 4,000. Baker Tilly Virchow Cross, 9,000. F.E. Moran Mechanical Service, 2,703.85. Hector Perez, 3,250. Lourdes Ortega, 2,700. Norcom Public Safety Com, 4,268. Orlando Lawn Service, 2,010. Pitney Bowes Purchase Power, 2,657.40. TNT Towing and Recovery, 4,950. Total of expenditures over 2,500, 37,739.25. Total expenditures 68,551.29. Percent of total over 20. Percent of total 55%.
For the record, please let reflect Orlando Lawn Service, $4,210. Sorry,
What did I say?
something else. I'm sorry.
I thought I said.
It's okay.
Trustee Ely,
No comment.
trustee Tierney, trustee Horn,
No comment.
trustee Abraham,
None.
can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Jones and Brum Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0 to pay the bills.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, item 6, village officer reports. Village officer reports are given at every second meeting of the month. First off, Building Department, Commissioner Dave Upshaw.
Good evening, Mayor Thompson, Board, residents.
Good evening.
The Building Department report, May 2018, is as follows. The Building Department had over almost $85,000 in revenue. 88% of that was were permits. We had 91 complaints. Of the 91 complaints, a majority of those were high grass. We had a few contractor registration, garbage permits, but again, a majority of those were high grass complaints. Board, before you this evening, it almost looks like it's a building department agenda, but please take in consideration, we have RFQs for one landscaping, as you read, as it relates to the invoices with Orlando and Hector Perez. consulted with the mayor, and we do have them currently taking care of village-owned property and vacant properties because we have to maintain that. We want our residents and businesses to be compliant. We have to do so also. But our RFQ is about consolidating and doing an RFQ to get a request so we can have one landscaping service provide numerous services for us outside of cutting grass, weeding, feeding, cutting the hedges, garbage removal around, and things of that we can have a regularly scheduled maintenance of our properties as well as vacant properties. So please take that into consideration. The RFQ for the building department, the mayor has tasked me, a lot of my time has been spent as it relates to economic development. And so I would ask that you consider us outsourcing the building department. We're taking a look at that. Linda would be continue to be our administrator to support us, but we would also have a supervisor that would take care of our day-to-day inspections, plan reviews, consultants, and things of that nature. Any complaints that would make it a lot easier to service our customers and being our residents and businesses in a timely and efficient manner. The 911, I'm proud to say, I have received the plans. They're in for review, and I anticipate that we should be breaking ground. I don't know, we're probably going to have a ceremony at some point, but we should be breaking ground in the next couple of weeks. The Village of Broadview roof project is complete. I just need to sign off on a few things, and that will be done. And lastly, I'd just like to talk about, as our clerk McGreer commented earlier, Broadview, in the last 2 or 3 years, we've been making movies and doing TV commercials. We actually have a commercial tomorrow, Tuesday and Wednesday. Checkers will be making a commercial on the corner of 17th and Roosevelt, and they will be there for 2 days. So I just wanted to reiterate that. Should be a lot of fun. I was glad that they chose Broadview. They're actually traveling around the country and making commercials at different checker locations. And the mere fact that they chose our small community, which is a great community, I was very proud of that. And actually worked with the various departments, and to the satisfaction with council as well. I got a check today that I will give to the finance department, and so everything appears to be in order. We have security, we have life safety. The fire department will be on staff for the next 2 days, be on call to assist them for any of their needs, and I'll be available as well. Mayor, board, that concludes my report.
Thank you, trustee Ewing.
No questions.
Trustee Terry.
No question.
Trustee Hill.
No questions, thank you.
Trustee Ewing.
I do want to give Director Upshaw a compliment on the report that he presented us by email. It was very detailed, very well broken down. I do have one question. I know the high grass is an issue. Can we just clarify what is high grass? Is it over 4 inches, 6 inches, the front step? Just so everybody kind of knows and it's across the board.
Thank you. High grass, according to our current village code, is anything over 10 inches. So 10 inches seems like a lot, but actually it's not. When you start looking at the grass, and so we have quite a few complaints. Please be aware that we are I'll talk about the process too. We know that it's raining. For the last month or so, it's been raining like every other day. And so we are giving people an opportunity. You get a warning, and it's 7 days. And then after that, you will be cited. But we will give you a warning to be compliant, and we hope that you will be, because we anticipate within a certain period of time, actually 7 days, that it will stop raining, the grass will dry out, and you can cut it. We all know that everybody has other responsibilities. I know for a fact I only cut my grass on the weekends, so I got it, and I do understand. So we just want to give everybody an opportunity to be compliant and continue to make this community beautiful.
Madam President, before he leaves, the trustee Abraham mentioned a building department report that she had received via email. Yeah, I just checked my computer. I didn't know it existed until she mentioned it, and then I didn't get one, So I would love to have seen it. I heard part of it, but I would love to have received it.
Our reports goes through the clerk's office to be submitted to all the trustees. So, Mr. Clerk, did you get a copy of the building department report?
I don't believe that was sent to him this week, was it?
What's the date on it, John?
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Tuesday.
I believe I did send it, because I had to send it to you, Mayor, and I think I CC'd the clerk, but I will make sure that every trustee gets a copy of the report.
No, I'll ensure that I'll double check my email, but I'll ensure everyone gets one as well.
So just let me be real clear on how we're trying to eliminate paper. So we're still in transition apparently. So what takes place is the department heads submit
Mhm.
I review the reports, and then I give them approval that their report has been approved, and then they are to submit it to the clerk to submit to all the trustees.
Mhm.
So if you're not getting it, so now we all know that that's the process, so in the future, we should be getting a reports ahead of time before the meeting, so that you can get any questions answered.
Well, the thing is, the village provided me with this iPad, so if there's
Yeah,
something
but
wrong with the
that's
iPad,
a piece of equipment, we're talking about a person actually pushing a button to send it to get to an email. So
Well,
with
it's-
that being said, we understand that you didn't get the
I'm
report.
pushing the same buttons
The
you
clerk-
pushing.
The clerk just said, I told you I get the report, but the clerk just said he would make sure that you get the reports in the future. Is there anything else, trustee?
No.
Thank
no.
you, thank you, Mr. O'Shea.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Finance Department. Finance Director Tim Hicks.
Did everyone get the report?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, you too, Tim.
It wasn't sent
A private moment.
The Finance Director did just send me his. That was a late one that I just got today.
So I'll report on the fiscal year end April 30th. As we just ended the year, we're starting the audit, so we're going to continuously report on April 30th until the audit is completed. For the fiscal year ending April 30th, 2018, total revenues was $15.6 million, which is approximately $219,000 favorable to the budget. These are unaudited numbers that we have to make sure that is stated. There will be adjustments based on the auditors coming in and giving us their adjustments based on their review. For the month of April, revenues was approximately $640,000, which is net of an operating transfer out to the capital fund. Revenues for the fiscal year 2018 are approximately $2.4 million ahead of the audited revenues for fiscal year 2017. Expenditures for the fiscal year April 2018, total expenditures are approximately $16 million, which is unfavorable versus the budget by $1.3 million. And again, there will be adjustments to these numbers as we go through and review all of the accounts to make sure that expenses are recorded in a proper year, to make sure that expenses are allocated to the proper funds. So we anticipate that we'll make all those adjustments over the next coming months until the audit is done, which is why I'll report on this in addition to fiscal 19 budget versus actual going forward until the budget is done. For the month of April 2018, expenditures were approximately $1.4 million, which includes accruals for payments that were made in May of 2018. So we make sure that those payments, although they were made in the subsequent year, that they're recorded back to the correct fiscal year. Some of the key drivers for the unfavorable variances were in the executive office. We're looking at the legal fees, which exceeded budget by $226,000. And as we reviewed just today, there was probably about 47,000 that should have been posted to the audit for the audit purposes. There's probably another 50,000 that were for April 2017 expenses that we need to recount, that we need to reclassify against the accrual that was made at the year end. And then another key driver was liability insurance, which is about $100,000 more than what was budgeted, and that's just the actual cost, which at the time that we did the budget, comparing that against what the actuals were, it just exceeding that. And I'll stop there. Are there any questions regarding the report?
No question.
Okay. All right. So the second report you have is the fund balances for all funds as of April 30th. So that just shows the revenue and expenses, the beginning and ending fund balance, unaudited, of course, as of April 30th. So we can see that there's that overall the village has a healthy fund balance in the majority of all of our major funds. Is there any questions regarding that report?
I got a quickie. Why are we showing a balance in the 22nd, 17th TIF? That's the Village Square TIF, right? It's not completely closed?
No. In terms of what's on the books, those balances will still carry forward in terms of an accounting standpoint. The TIF may be closed, and so there may be some accounting that we need to officially close within the books, but this is the balance and activity for those TIF funds as of April 2018.
Can you repeat the question, because I didn't hear it?
Oh, I asked him about the Village Square TIF. We pretty much closed it out and dispersed the monies to the various taxing bodies, but it's still showing a balance.
Oh,
And, well, you heard his answer.
right.
Okay.
Is there anything?
No, nothing else.
Okay.
Nothing for me.
No questions, thank you.
Thank you, Director Hicks.
Thank you.
Okay, next item is Fire Department, Chief Tracy Kinney.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, and residents. I am
evening.
going to condense this. I just emailed that to all of you in case you didn't get it. Send a second email. You have it, I promise. For the month of May, we responded to 243 emergency calls, 1 water rescue, 1 house fire, and 1 car fire. We responded to a total of 67 contract calls that totaled over $45,000 in revenue. We attended the Heinz VA games where military veterans who are wounded compete and head to nationals. Our explorers joined us and spent the day being pushers, getting veterans into wheelchairs to each of the games to compete. We filled the boot in front of Home Depot each Saturday, raised funds for Camp IME, which is a camp for children who have been burned. Along with the Brookfield Zoo, we hosted a canine resuscitation class, which our own canine police officer attended. Our explorers raised money for IFSI camp, over $3,000, thanks to everybody in this room. They will be doing the drawing for the iWatch soon, and I will make an announcement at the next board meeting. Members of our department were recognized at 2 events. First, the Medal of Honor ceremony. Captain Ned Toma, firefighters Brian Sullivan, Chris Mazurkowitz, and Dave Cohen received the Unit Citation Award for the rescue of a disabled man during a Maywood fire that was trapped in his basement. Loyola hosted their yearly appreciation luncheon. The following were recognized for their resuscitation efforts on 3 cardiac arrests. Those members are Kelly Johnson, Tom Flannery, James Perazzo, Pat McGivney, Vince Napoli, Joe Marbach, Martin Scafidi, Jim Cannon, and Corey Trinner. Recently, we had a complaint on our paramedics. I do address this with the paramedics themselves, and I tasked them with how do we change what had particularly happened. And they came back with, well, sometimes people just don't understand what we do. One of our firefighter paramedics, Alex Stevens, said, why don't we have a night where we can talk to people about what we do on the ambulance and how our equipment services them, and let's feed them too. So this Thursday from 5 to 7, we will be providing hot dogs, chips, and soda as we ask you to come meet our firefighter paramedics and let us know how we can serve you better. We will also be showing off our new ambulance, which should be titled and ready to go before the week's end. So I'm hoping this is the kickoff to being in service. Most importantly, I'm so excited about this, and so is the mayor. We have a camp for girls ages 11 to 15. Please spread the word. It's called Camp #WeCan2. It's a day of empowerment on June 29th from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. We'll have Senator Lightford as our keynote speaker, the mayor, myself, a police officer, Beata, a race car driver, a chef, a pilot, all women that are in usually male-dominated jobs, just talking about our careers and, inspiring these girls. So please spread the word. There are still 12 seats open, and I would love to fill them all. And that is the end of my report.
Trustee Eden?
No question.
That date again was June 29th, 1 to 3,
June 29th, so a week from Friday, from 9 to 3.
9 to
And we are providing lunch. No charge.
Thank you.
Flyers are in the back.
That's all I have.
Trustee Horn?
No comments, thank you.
Trustee Eden?
Yes, I do. Smoke detectors.
Smoke detector program is still going on. It'll go on until we run out of smoke detectors. Every time we go through 30, we are issued 30 more. But the kicker to it is you have to let us in your home. This is not a penalty. We're just coming in to make sure your home's safe for you and maybe for any visitors. You may be having grandchildren or friends visiting with kids this summer. We can help find an escape route. Just put some safety things in place.
And we'd like them to call the fire department?
Call the fire department, ask for Anthony Monks. He's one of our inspectors, and he'll set up an appointment, and he'll come in, and he's very thorough. And you had him in there, and he's a really good guy, and he really cares about this community.
Yes, I can, to talk about it more than enough, like I said, I had one smoke detector and to put 4 in because he felt the layout of the house. I thought that was very important. And again, to our residents, this is safety, so.
And non-punitive, so if you just invite him in, he'll just give you suggestions, and it's free. And I would like to say thank you for recognizing Kelly, and as you have been doing since you've all been in your places, it's very important to all of them to walk out of here with a sense of pride, and you do make that happen by doing that. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Okay, next item, Police Department Chief, Deputy Chief Kevin Wagner.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, and residents of Broadview.
Good evening.
I'll be giving the May monthly report for the police department. During the month of May, members of the police department responded to 1,415 calls as compared to 1,238 for April of 2018. We also processed 5 separate individual sex offenders, individuals residing or visiting Broadview. We assisted 3 residents in being fingerprinted for employment or volunteer purposes. 40 cases were also assigned to the Detective Bureau. 19 cases were cleared or closed, with 8 arrests being made, resulting in a 47% solvability for the month. 14 previously assigned cases were also cleared or closed, with 1 arrest being made. 171 total cases for the year have been assigned to the Detective Bureau. 141 of those were cleared or closed, with 28 arrests being made, and that is a 82% solvability for the year. Some other noteworthy events for May was 911 communicators took place in the Roosevelt School's Embracing Diversity Seminar. Officers participated in Cop on Top at Dunkin' Donuts. We raised over $1,600 for the Special Olympics during that campaign. And also we had our Special Olympics torch run on June 9th, and even though I know it's a June event, we did raise $1,700 at that event also. And I want to thank everybody who supported us and donated for that also. We also conducted an emergency lockdown drill at Roosevelt School in May. Members of the police department received training in surveillance, vehicle code, evidence training, and center management certification for our 911 center. And last but not least, bids were accepted for the electrical and plumbing services during May, and phase 1 preparation development for the addition and modification project of the whole building here. And final architectural design work was being completed, with illustrations being provided to the village offices on the new facade and council chambers, which I believe is back here on this diagram in the back of the room here. That's all I have for our report for May.
Thank you. Trustee Ely?
No comments.
No questions.
Trustee Ely?
Nothing, thank you.
Yes, Chief, the speed bumps, are they gonna go back in the Beverly area? I had some residents question, ask questions.
Yeah, I think the Public Works, yeah, we're
All
gonna
right,
hang
so
that.
you still support it.
Yep.
Other thing I do want to compliment is the Police Citizens Academy. I know the mayor is going to talk about it, but definitely, there was a lot to learn, and I'll definitely be out promoting it. It was a lot of information, able to see what we have, what you guys do in different scenarios. So again, I encourage the residents to take advantage of it. You know, it's just putting some time in to go, but
Right.
it's well worth it. So
I'm glad you
thank
enjoyed it.
guys.
We count on the alumni to kind of reach out and say, okay, I went through this, I want you to go through it now, and to get more people in there. Like tonight, and National Night Out also is going to be in August. We really count on the alumni to come out and really kind of promote the
Well,
program
I
too.
think what was important, and I'm sure the mayor's gonna compliment them, is each individual, there was different officers on each week, and they taught different parts of the class. And just to hear different speakers, I thought that was definitely very interesting. They're very well versed, they're very well educated. They talked about their background, their experiences, why they're here in Broadview. So again, you know, I thank you for, you know, protecting our community. So, and I thought every officer that spoke did a great job.
Yeah, thanks for your input. I'll make sure I get back to them and let them know too.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Chief. Next item, Public Works Department, Director Matt Ames.
Good evening, Mayor, Board of Trustees, and everyone in attendance.
Good evening.
Good evening.
We contracted with Pipeview for the purpose of identifying surface flood issues that were still present at certain storm basins locations, 6 in total. These basins were televised and reviewed by both Chris Baker and myself, and determined that 2 were in need of immediate repairs. Geno's Water and Sewer was contacted for these emergency repairs. The village streets resurfacing capital improvements have been true to schedule, so there's no delays or lags for the street resurfacing this year. We had a contingent of village representatives that included Commander Mike Cosick, Jim Gomez, and Chris Baker from Hancock Engineering, and myself. We went to IDOT, and the purpose of the meeting with IDOT was to make them aware of the congestion and the high accident rate that we have at 17th and Roosevelt Road. I think we've got 10 poles, 10 utility poles that both traffic signal and light poles that, for whatever reason, we've got these semi-trucks that can't navigate that turn. Obviously, they agreed to moving the stop bar back 10 feet, and that would allow some room, or at least a wider swing for those trucks that might have to navigate that intersection. But what we wanted to do was to get them to agree to install 2 poles, one on the southeast corner, which would be close to the Walgreens lot, and the other one on the northwest corner, which would be right at the new development for the strip mall that's been constructed now. They did agree to allow us to condense those traffic signals and light signals into the 2 poles. They do recognize that it is a mess at that intersection. But unfortunately, it was not in their Roosevelt Road letting this year. This year, they plan to resurface Roosevelt Road from Westchester clear down to Des Plaines Avenue once again. We also pointed out some of the issues that we've had from their last resurfacing that occurred almost 8 years ago, and that is the storm basins and laterals were not addressed. We're taking photographs. As a matter of fact, one of the reasons I was delayed was to take those photographs. We had some significant rain and obviously some pooling at certain intersections, so we will be providing that to them. In the meantime, I think what we took away from the meeting, at least Hancock and myself, was that we need to find some alternative revenues to try and fund this upgrade. We're talking approximately $750,000, so we do plan to approach the West Central Municipal Conference, which I believe the mayor alluded to, consists of a few communities from the Proviso Township, and ask them to, if nothing else, provide the phase 1 of funding for this, which is more or less a study. We might end up reducing some of the sidewalk that's not needed. So some other things that were looked at. And lastly, we did submit our LMO2 reports to the Department of Natural Resources. So the LMO2s, once again, is an annual report that we have to file, basically saying how much water we've purchased from the water agency and how much we've sold to the customers here in Broadview, and the discrepancies in the meters. So I think I've talked to you all about the high discrepancy. We've got about a 30% unaccounted for water loss, but we have some things in place that we had to report that should mitigate that. One is the replacements of the residential water meters, the annual leak detection that we have, and we've also identified some mains that are weak in structure, and of course we plan to address that once the facility plan is put together, and of course our finance department is able to go out for the SRF, State Revolving Fund Low Interest Loan for that. Outside of that, we've been aggressive in removing trees. To date, we've got approximately 30 trees down, with quite a few to go. The tree survey should be completed, and we would have a hard copy for your presentation at the next board meeting. Mayor, that concludes my report for this evening. Is there any questions or comments?
No questions.
Director Ames, is it, I know it's a state route, Roosevelt Road, but is it possible to make a right turn for those trucks? I mean, there's just no room at all for them.
That was one of the things we discussed. Unfortunately, no. If it was a local road, we could most certainly, to your point, restrict truck traffic. So,
Thank you. Trustee Lee?
Do you think that we can engage the grant writer related to that expense?
oh, well, as a matter of fact, I'm sure we
Oh, no,
can.
it is or isn't. So-
Well, there's, yeah, we've been directed to seek out some grant funding, and our first point would be with the WCMC.
Okay. Would you mind including me on just your communications with the grant writer, just so I'm privy?
Absolutely. I
Thank
think
you.
we can do that.
Trustee Lee?
Yes, yes, Director Ames, thank you for bringing up about the tree company that's out there evaluating our trees. I did see him in the Beverly section walking around, and he was, telling me what he was doing, so I'm glad on that. The other thing you mentioned about the 30 trees being cut down, those are gonna be replaced, correct? To the
Not necessarily, and most certainly not right away. We found that because of the issue of watering the trees, the saplings when we get them down, and the lack of participation from our residents. We typically try and plant no more than 12 trees in the spring and 12 trees in the fall. So we're talking maybe 24 to 30 trees for those individuals that have identified that they want trees and that are willing to help us keep them watered until they take root in some barren spots. But there is no aggressive plan to plant trees outside of what I just stated.
Okay, and then the trees that were cut down, was it because a resident wanted them cut down? Was it disease related? Was it the age of a tree and just at some point they can't, stay
Well,
up?
they were all dead. We don't remove trees because a resident all of a sudden thinks it's an inconvenience, or because they're tired of having their sewer lines rotted. So that's actually against the ordinance. But these trees were dead, barren, and so we got a jump start on what we anticipate the survey will show. So,
Okay, can you talk about the smart meters? Are you prepared to have that discussion tonight? Because I've been getting a couple of, as it relates to the water bill issues.
the meeting is scheduled for June the 22nd at 11 a.m. With the administrators. But yeah, the meter replacement, the smart meters will allow us to monitor usage on an hourly basis here. So there will be no need to have anybody out doing a read. There's going to be an antenna put on the water tower for remote access. The billing department, if there's, let's say, a high usage complaint, trustee Tierney, you feel like your bill is, for whatever reason, high, they will be able to go and look on an hourly basis to see what your consumption was. So they can tell you between 12 and 1 o'clock, somebody was flushing an awful lot of toilets, or you had some, some type of usage going on. There's also the ability to shut the water off without having to go out. For those, and we have some repeat customers that are always on the shut-off list, and rather than expend the time to go out and shut them off, we'll be able to shut off the water remotely from the office here, so.
Thank you.
Hope that's not between 12 and 1.
Madam Mayor, I do have a comment. I was at the meeting with Director Ames when that company had come in and discussed all the new technology and how this is gonna be a lot more efficient, a lot less wear and tear, and the fact that they can have the antenna, and I'm sure Director Ames can tell you, with the antenna being up there, he said the accuracy of what they can see, and again, like he said, the shut off, so they wouldn't have to worry about if they had to go read a meter at a business or an industrial, or even come through our residence any longer. They can drive and just scan and pick everything up. So it is a more effective, and they can detect anything as far as water usage and loss. So I think it's gonna help the residents, as well as helping the village manage the water in a more effective manner.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is the Administrative Department, Village Administrator Letisa Jones.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, and residents.
Good evening.
My report for May 2018. We've had some power issues, surges when it comes to May 30th. It affected over 270 residents, and this is because our LOSIS software that we use for our water department, we've had some inconsistencies because we have an old server. So what we're doing is we're troubleshooting. I'm working with the finance director for us to get an updated server, because when we get a power surge and our system goes down, it knocks our water connection out. So where Locust, which is our software company, they have to go in and they have to manually go in and key everything in order to get everything back online in order to get it updated. And we just so Mayor and trustees know, we found out, I did some research, and the last time it was updated before last year, 2017, an update had not been done since 2014. So of where that outdated over 3.5 years, that was kind of, it affected our software system with our water billing, just so Mayor, trustees know. When it comes to our healthcare informationals, we're calling July our informational month for our staff, of where we're gonna have Blue Cross Blue Shield, representative from Blue Cross Blue Shield, from Lincoln, and also from Dearborn to come out to just talk to our staff, just to educate them on the importance of having healthcare, and also just educating them on what services that Blue Cross Blue Shield provides for them. We're also gonna reach out to our retirees. We've noticed within the village that when it comes to our retirees, we all wanna get there. So we want to make sure that our retirees know that they are protected, whether it's through Blue Cross Blue Shield, whether it's through ARP, but giving them a range of services so they feel comfortable when they go into retirement that, you know what, they are covered and they are protected. So we're noting July 2018, and dates are pending, but of where we're going to have healthcare informationals. Last but not least, we are in union contracts. We just signed and completed with our telecommunicators, so I do thank you, Mayor and trustees. We have pending economics for our patrolmen and also our sergeants. Our next meeting for our firefighters will be July 2nd at 9 o'clock, and then for our Public Works, Administration, and Building, that meeting will be on July 10th at 4:30. That concludes my report, Mayor.
Thank you, trustee Ely.
I just got a quickie. Earlier this month, I got a ton of phone calls, and I'm talking a ton. I'm listed in the phone book. Everybody that ever knew me called me. And they were all complaining about the water bill. Well, all of that have been locust connected because they had the same complaint I did. I received the water bill, I believe, say the 24th of the month. We paid it on the 25th. A week later, we get a new water bill with a late charge on it. I told all of them to call the village hall. So if you were bothered by a bunch of calls, that was me. Yeah, I told them to call. Will the locust upgrade clear that up and or has the administrative staff straightened that out?
Yes, we took care of that. We had 2 power surges. We had an April 23rd where it affected over 300 residents. That was taken care of. Then we just had another one, which was May 30th, of where it affected 270. That was taken care of. So we're working diligently with our finance department and also Locust in order to rectify this in a timely manner.
Okay.
Trustee Tucker.
the update that hasn't occurred, is that related to software or the actual server needing to be
No,
replaced?
the actual, we need an actual server. Our server is outdated, more than 10 years old. So we need an actual server. Right now, we're on a backup, and that's, I thank the mayor for that, of where we have a backup, so we don't lose any of our data, but we do need an actual updated server.
Okay.
Mhm.
And when we do crash, and you mentioned that the information has to be keyed in,
Our software Locis, and they're really good of where they can remote in, and they handle all that, of where the reports are PDF, so everything is done through them.
okay,
Mm-hmm,
wow, 10 years old,
mm-hmm.
thanks.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes, thank you for handling the issue with the late water payments and just taking the phone calls, because I know there was numerous calls. I had to call in and check, and I had residents asking me, so thank you for taking care of that and being diligent.
Thank you. And we do have, anytime they call, they can bring us the card, or they just tell us their account over the phone, and it's rectified immediately. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
Ms.
you.
Jones.
Okay, that concludes the department head reports. Next item on the agenda, item 8B, a resolution recognizing Honor Guards of America.
Mayor, can I propose we change item H to item A on the new business?
Which one?
Item A to, letter H to, letter A.
Can you just get this resolution?
Is that for that?
Yeah, that's just for that.
Okay.
Yeah, and then we can change the order.
The only thing is, that particular paragraph is a run-on, it should have been split.
Right,
So we're just gonna do half of that.
we're just gonna do the honor guards.
Okay, good enough.
Okay.
We're gonna split B?
Yeah.
Okay, so you want,
The other part will be stricken table, whatever, show up on the next one.
okay, so will we continue with B now, or did you wanna go out of order?
Continue to be.
Continue with B.
Yes, sir.
I'll make a note of both of them.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, so item 8B, a resolution recognizing Honor Guards of America for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Ely. Madam President?
Thank you. The purpose of this resolution is to recognize the Honor Guards of America. A resolution recognizing Honor Guards of America for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois. Whereas the Village of Broadview, and I believe we do have the Honor Guard here, so if you understand, you can do so at this time. The Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois is duly organized and existing village created under the provision of laws of the State of Illinois, is now operating under the provisions of the Illinois Municipal Code and all laws and military thereof, and supplemented thereto with full powers to enact ordinances and adopt resolutions for the benefit of the residents of the village. And whereas the Honor Guard of America consists of former and retired members of ceremonial units of the U.S. military, military veterans, first responder agencies, law enforcement, firefighters, and emergency medical service, and civilians wanted to render respect and honor. Whereas the Honor Guard of America is recognizing all honor guards nationwide on July 1st each year for Honor Guards Day. Whereas the Honor Guard of America and honor guards across the United States serve with honor, dignity, and loyalty, and they demonstrate high regard for traditions of the United States military, public safety organizations, and other agencies, and honor the veterans who serve our country. Whereas the Honor Guard of America is comprised of courageous men and women who have selflessly served in our military, law enforcement, fire service, public safety, emergency medical service, corrections, other agencies, and all those who wear the uniform of Honor Guard understand the sacrifice and are an important part of the community. Whereas the Honor Guard of America serves each community through participation in services for fallen, presenting the colors with honor, and involving in the community memorials. And Honor Guard acts as the face of the organization they represent during solemn times of mourning and remembrance, and provide solace to families and communities during times of grief. Whereas this is an opportunity to recognize their services and sacrifice and show appreciation of honor guards who support our communities as we pay tribute and remember those who have selflessly served our cities, counties, state, and nation with honor, dignity, and respect. Now therefore be it resolved by the President and the Village Board of the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois as follows. All recitals herein before stated as contained in preambles to resolution are full, true, and correct, and the corporate authorities do hereby reference, incorporate, and make full them as legislative item. The village board hereby commends and congratulates the Honor Guard of America on their transformational impact on the village of Broadview and surrounding communities. The village officials and staff are hereby directed to take action as necessary to carry out the intent of this resolution. The resolution should be effective in full force immediately upon passage and approval. Resolved by the village board of the village of Broadview, County of Cook, Illinois, 18th day of June 2018, pursuant to a roll call vote as follows. So passed, adopted, approved, intact, and at the village of Broadview, County of Cook, state of Illinois, the 18th day of June.
Thank you. This is Josh Hicks. Josh is in charge of the Division 20 honor guard.
Madam President, thank you so very much. The board, thank you so very much for recognizing everyone, not only the local honor guard unit, but units across the country. I thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome. Can we get a roll call vote, please, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, trustee Ely.
Yay.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Jones and Brown Marino are absent.
Thank you for your
Madam
service.
President, this carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor, if I could add, Division 20 is one of the most recognized throughout the state and decorated for their awards and the presentations that they do. So they're one of the top units in the state.
Oh, nice.
Nice.
Great, congratulations.
Just for the record, trustees, item B was a administrative error on the clerk's part. It was a run-on, and from the portion that stops at Illinois and begins at a resolution. At this time, I'll entertain a motion to strike that portion and possibly consider it at a future meeting.
So moved.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Ely and seconded by trustee Tierney to strike that portion that we just discussed. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Hearing no opposition, this will be possibly considered at a future meeting. Next item on the agenda, item C.
Okay, at this time, I would like to make a motion to move item H to item A.
Yeah, item
Vacate.
C, in front of C.
Yeah, it was vacated.
Yeah.
C? Next issue.
To the next item, right?
Next item.
Second.
Okay, so it's been properly motioned by trustee Tierney, seconded by trustee Ely to move the order of business, going straight to item H.
Yes.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, say nay. Hearing no opposition, next item on the agenda, item 8H, an ordinance authorizing the issuance of general obligation bonds, alternative revenue source, Series 2018 of the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois, in an aggregate principal amount not to exceed $12 million for the purpose of improving the sites of, as well as building, altering, equipping, and repairing the village's 911 call center and village hall, and for the purpose of acquiring such equipment as trucks, automobiles, computers, telecommunication devices, and public works and public safety vehicles.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Horn. Madam President, it's now open for discussion.
Thank you. The purpose of this ordinance is to authorize the issuance of general obligation bonds, alternative revenue source, Series 2018, in aggregate principal amount not to exceed $12 million for the purpose of improving the sites of, as well as building, altering equipment, and repairing the village's 911 call center and the village hall, and for the purpose of acquiring such equipment as trucks, automobiles, computers, telecommunication devices, and public works and public safety vehicles. The village is authorized under provision 65 ILC 5/8-5-16 of the Illinois Municipal Code to issue non-referendum general obligation bonds in the amount not to exceed 50% of the village's most recent equalized assessed evaluation. Trustee Ely?
No comment.
Trustee Tierney?
None.
Trustee Horn?
No comments.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Can we get a roll call vote, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustees Jones and Brown Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda.
Excuse me, Mr. Clerk.
Yes.
Section 5-5-16 non-referendum general
motion to go back to item C of the agenda and follow along with.
Yes, you can. Okay, it's been now properly motioned by trustee Tierney, seconded by trustee Ely, to go back to the regular order of business. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we're now at item 8C. A motion to authorize the hiring of a firefighter to fill the vacancy left by the retirement of Kelly Johnson.
Move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Ely, seconded by trustee Tierney. Madam President, open for discussion.
The purpose of this motion is to authorize the Village of Broadview Fire Department to hire a firefighter to fill the vacancy left by the retirement of Kelly Johnson. Section 10-2.1-4 of the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners Act provides that the Board of Fire and Police Commissioners shall appoint all officers and members of the fire and police departments of the municipality. 65 ILCS 5/10-2.1-4. Trustee Ely.
No comment.
Trustee Tierney.
No comment.
Trustee Horn.
Nothing, thank you.
Trustee Abraham.
None.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Roll call, trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustees Jones and Brown Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda. Item 8D, a resolution authorizing the initiation of a request for qualifications for the provision of building inspection services for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Abraham, seconded by trustee Tierney. Madam President, it's open for discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. This resolution authorizes the village to initiate a request for qualification, RFQ, for the provision of building inspection services. The Illinois Municipal Code does not require public bidding for services such. Okay, trustee Ely.
Well, Dave, can you tell us, you wish to contract with a firm for building inspection services? Is that what this is?
I wish to, currently, we are outsourcing our inspections and plan reviews. The role as building commissioner per Mayor Thompson has changed in terms of me doing quite a bit of economic development. And that being said, I have looked at the numbers, the types of revenue, the time, and the efficiency, and my recommendation is that we do an RFQ to outsource the building department, specifically inspections, plan reviews, as well as any complaints, addressing any complaints, code enforcement, and things of that nature.
Residential as well as industrial?
Residential, commercial, and industrial.
What are we gonna do with the one building inspector we got?
That building inspector, well, I've spoken to several communities who have done this. Just some of the communities that we have that are near us, Bloomingdale, Hinsdale, Oak Brook, Bellwood, Westchester, Schaumburg, Countryside, Brookfield, Elmwood Park, and River Forest. All of those communities have some form of outsourcing in terms of the building department, and the companies who they have contracted with have taken their employees.
And the reason why I was asking is the company that we've been using, what's, yeah.
B&F Technical.
Okay, they've been concentrating primarily on industrial and commercial. And I would assume that Greg has been doing a lot of the residential. But which is cool. But a couple of things. Greg has been our residential inspector. What are we gonna do with him in the future? And the village administrator told us earlier that they're going into more bargaining talks later on this month, June something. You know, so which would have to be worked out. Do we just dump him? And the other concern I had is that I'm not saying we shouldn't have a contract with the company we use now, and they're probably going to wind up with the contract anyway. But 3 years, we don't normally do 3 years, just a series of 1-year contracts. And this proposal calls for a 3-year contract and then a series of 1-year contracts. If it don't work out after a year, we stuck with it for 2 years.
My,
Can I
Mayor?
answer that? So as it relates to the terms of contract 3 years versus 1 year with 1 year increments, the reason why you would want to do a 3-year and the contract is not solidified, this is just the proposal. So when they submit the contract, we're able to negotiate the terms. This is just so that we can get the RFQ for approval of the board. As it relates to the personnel matter with the unions, that's still under negotiation, but as
True.
we move forward, how we look at the village at large as it relates to the building department and the scope of work that they're responsible for. I don't know, in the past, as we assess each department, the needs in that department is way out of the scope of what the current code inspector have in place. So he needs some assistance to either get his skill set up to a code enforcer, because we qualify him as the union and bargaining classify it as a building inspector.
We're talking about the current inspector.
Yes.
Mhm.
So we're looking for more code enforcement as it relates to commercial, industrial, and residential, so that we can be in compliance with the ordinance and keep up and move forward as we move the village forward as it relates to development projects. So we wanted to put the RFQ out there to see what our options were, and as we look at the scope in the building department, on how we either need to make changes in that department or outsource some of the scope of work. As Commissioner Upshaw said, we did some research on what the other municipalities does in the building department. And they don't have a lot of the full-time things that we desire to have, because we don't have the capital to pay employees with salaries and benefits and fringe benefits. We don't have that capacity to do that, but we can outsource it and we can manage and monitor that a little bit better than what we are right now.
Well, I simply want to know what you were attempting to do. We're currently contracting with a company to do those things you're proposing. I don't like, my personal opinion is I don't like the concept of a 3-year contract. Plus, there's uncertainty surrounding the future of our own inspector, Greg. We're supposed to protect our employees too, so I'm done.
Trustee Tierney?
Our inspector, how far advanced trained is he, and is he interested in getting trained more?
well, let me say
He's
this.
limited to what he can do, correct?
Let me say this, and we're talking about our inspector, and I believe that's a personnel issue, and so I really don't want to give names specifically, but in generally as it relates to as it relates to the building department, BNF Technical does about 90% of our work. When you look at inspections, when you look at specifically what you all are addressing, here's a perfect example. Last week, our inspector was out. That just leaves me and Linda. I made a quick phone call. I had 5 inspectors right there within an hour that could take care of what we can do. As it relates to the building department, we have 1 inspector. He can only do one thing at a time. He can't be in multiple places. That impacts us serving our customers from a residential standpoint, industrial and commercial, because he can only service 1 customer at a time. Where last week, I had 5 inspectors in 5 different places all at the exact same time, plus getting our building reviews done. So I'm looking at making our department more efficient. I'm looking at increasing revenues and allowing us to develop our Roosevelt Road corridor and becoming more compliant. That's in terms of making Broadview better. And that's what the mayor has tasked me to do. So a lot of my focus has been on economic development. And the mayor, and I just want to say this for those of you who don't know, the mayor is very hands-on. She actually, and you can ask her, she's right here. She actually, Linda was out. We don't have a backup for Linda. You know who the backup is? If they're out at the same time?
You.
David C. Upshaw. And the mayor was there when I was trying to answer the phone, work the window, and then she says, Dave, where are the stuff that you're supposed to get to me? Taking complaints, trying to do inspections, trying to look at a plan review for a fence, which is something real simple that I have the capability and skill set to do. And people were upset because everything that they had was a priority. I'm only one person. I'm only one person. And that happens all the time. Last week, Linda was out.
That's all.
Thank you. Trustee Hunt?
No comments, thank you.
Trustee Abraham?
Yes, I do, Mayor. I've had conversations with Director Upshaw over the past, even my first term, about enhancing and improving the building department. And I know you've explained to me that if there's, obviously our community's changed. We have more progress, we have more businesses in our community. And if you guys looked at the invoices over this last year, that agency that we've been using has been out there quite a bit. So that means our progress, commercially and industrial, we need trained people, again, that he needs to have disposal of, that has to go out there for these businesses, because those guys want to open up their business. If it's a commercial or if it's an industrial, there's a time. They want to get going, they want to open up. And again, I don't want us as a community to be losing revenue. I want us to be professional so that when businesses do come in and corporations, they know we've got A through Z. And if we only have one guy in there that's a code enforcer or only checks on the height of the grass, we need to make sure our people are versed. We make sure our police department is versed. They got people doing specific things. The fire department has people doing specific things. I think the building department has been neglected as far as having enough personnel in there. Because at the end of the day, I'm sure he'll tell you, Linda does a lot of paperwork. And I know computers and everything else, and I'm sure our village administrator knows, just to have computers, and when you don't have a server that's up to date, it makes the job very difficult. And again, I don't want the village to be still in 1920. I want to move us into, 2020. I want us to move ahead. So I know what he's trying to do here. I support what he's doing to send this RFQ out there and to see who can help us and that he can manage these guys while they're out there. So I'm supporting it. I'm for it. I think it's a great idea. So thank you. Finally, it's coming.
Thank you, Trustee. Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
No.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Jones and Brown Marino are absent. Let me defer to our attorney. At this point, we have a 3-to-1 vote. Would that require any more votes? Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Madam President, your vote?
Yes.
And this carries to 4-to-1. Next item on the agenda, item E, a resolution appointing trustees to committees and committee chairperson positions for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to accept, approve.
Second.
Been properly motioned by Trustee Tierney, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President, this is open for discussion.
Thank you. The purpose of this resolution is to appoint trustees to committees and committee chairperson positions for the village. Section 3.1-40-15 of the Municipal Illinois Code provides that the village board shall determine its own rules and procedures. Trustee Ely?
Well, don't know who came up with this, Jim, but the committee assignments tell a story. But to the rest of the trustees, I hope they realize that basically they're in charge of this process. They don't have to go to other committees unless other trustees vote against them and send them someplace, so be careful. This is, I'm done.
Thank you, Trustee Tierney.
I'm comfortable working with the fire and police. I've worked with them for over 30 years. I have a good working relationship with them. I think I understand them. I not only know them, I've lived what they've been through. I think I'll do a good job.
Thank you, Trustee Horn.
I was listening to Trustee Ely, and I was listening with the intent of trying to understand your position. I didn't follow what argument you were trying to make. I had some conversations with the mayor, with our finance director, and I had a conversation with Trustee Jones specifically related to the adjustments that were taking place. And the only you know, there are two sides to the story. There is a story that goes along with it, but at the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding, right? So we only had one finance committee meeting, and it was hard to understand the position of the trustees and the tension or the disagreements or even the rationale that was being applied if we couldn't come together as a committee, and only the chair can call the committee. And so that it only took place one time in the entire fiscal year. And so if there was an issue, I was really disappointed with the fact that I felt like two very intelligent individuals couldn't come together to have a conversation related to the finances, and in an effort to ensure that conversation is taking place so that we can all understand, even if we agree to disagree, I said, so be it. My only disappointment was that we didn't have any meetings, so we weren't talking to each other. As a committee, we weren't talking to each other, and as a committee talking to the operating staff, the finance director, and the people within the village, those conversations wasn't taking place because nothing was ever called where you guys could come and we can all sit together and either agree to disagree or point out the gaps in understanding or whatever the case may be. So it was hard to even come up with a decision as to, yes, move forward, no, you're not doing your job is wrong. None of that could take place because nobody was talking to each other. So I'll leave it at that.
Thank you. Trustee Abraham?
I don't think there's any secret to any mayor that's been sitting up here with trustees, that trustees usually do get changed after a year. So I really don't see what the issue is. I know two of the trustees aren't here, so again, I can only speak for myself. I know that I've had different committees prior, so there's nothing new after a year. If the mayor wants to change or realign certain positions, that's fine. I mean, it's part of our responsibility and part of our scope as a trustee to be on various committees so that we can give a report, that we can have a dialogue with these department heads, because again, you know, the mayor's running day-to-day operations. Us as a trustee has a responsibility to the rest of the community, and if we're here to bring valuable information, and we should be meeting with everybody that's a department head. I mean, I live here, I'm paying taxes, I want to know what these guys are doing, and you want to support the different committees. So I don't see what the problem is and what's the question. It's something that's done all the time.
Thank you. So let me just say the purpose and the reason for me reassigning the committees. As leaders in this village, as the mayor and as the trustees that's elected to legislate with me, I look to the department heads to advise me, and I look for the legislative bodies to advise me. And if we're not having regular committee meetings to engage transparency, integrity, and honesty, which that was the platform that I said that I would provide to this village, then we have to make a change. And sometimes change is difficult, and change don't feel good when something is being restructured or reorganized. And sometimes we have to reorganize to align ourselves with the vision of where this village needs to take place. We have trustees that don't engage in their respective roles with the respective departments as it relates to event. They're not connected to the community. And if you have the heart of Broadview, you're connected to the people of Broadview, and the people of Broadview are our residents, our business owners, and the people that engage every day that come in and out of town and interact with our department heads. So I felt the need that it was time to make that change and to be more engaging, and I feel with the changes that's being made tonight that will take place with the trustees chairing their respective positions as a chair, because I know they have the heart of Broadview to engage the community, and that's what we look forward to. That's why our communication have opened up as it relates to being open with our newsletters, being transparent, having the video so that people can stream live, having robocalls so that you know what's taking place within the village. So the committees is all about transparency. And if we're not transparent, then why should the people trust us? And the biggest part of this village is that people have the utmost respect for is our fire and police and our finance department and the water, health, and drainage, because that impacts all of us directly. And we have to have leaders, not people that sit on the board and legislate and complain and obstruct and, you know, have their pity parties, but people that want to sit on committees that's going to be committed to them being an elected official. That means being engaged, performing, That means coming prepared to meetings, engaging with the department heads to get things going. We're moving forward and we don't want to be stagnant. We want to be progressive and moving forward. So, Mr. Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
No.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
And this carries 3-1.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, item F, a resolution authorizing and approving agreements with Riley Construction Company, Inc. for construction services related to the renovation of the Ike 911 Center for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Tierney. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. The purpose of this resolution is to authorize and approve 2 agreements with Riley Construction Company, Inc. for construction services related to the renovation of the Ike 911 Center for the Village. Article 7, Section 10A of the Illinois Constitution authorized units of local government to contract or otherwise associate with individuals, associations, and corporations in any manner not prohibited by law or by ordinance. Trustee Ely?
No comments. It's self-explanatory.
Thank you. Trustee Tierney?
No comment.
Trustee Horn?
Nothing.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, you can, Madam President. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Jones and Brown Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, item G, an ordinance amending Title 15, Chapter 5 of the Village Code regarding animal control in the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Horn. Madam President, open for discussion.
Tthank you. The purpose of this ordinance is to amend Title 15, Chapter 5 of the Village Code regarding animal control in the village pursuant to Section 5/24 of the Illinois Animal Control Act 510 ILCS 5/24. A municipality may prohibit animals from running at large and may further control to regulate dogs, cats, or any or other animals provided that no regulation or ordinance is specific to breed. Additionally, Section 11-5-6 of the Illinois Municipal Code provides that the corporate authorities of each municipality may prohibit cruelty to animals. Trustee Ely?
Well, Dave, can you tell us exactly what you changed? Was it just the basic words? What is it that you changed specifically in here?
So the ordinance, we just, made it more detail specific as it relates to.
Just
It's
terminology?
just more detailed, making sure that we capture the fees,
Yeah, I know.
making sure that, people have their animals on leash and being in compliant with some of the complaints as we got as it relates to, dogs unleashed, using the bathroom in public parkways and being able to monitor these, the people that have, ownership and making sure everybody has compliance. So what's gonna take place, if this is approved tonight, we're gonna send out probably a postcard to every resident saying if you have an animal, a dog, a cat, you must register your animal. If we find out that you don't, then you will be cited for not falling in compliance because we wanna capture those that have animals. What could happen, say it's a house fire and the person at home and their pets are at home, at least we know the fire department or the police department, once they go in, they know that it's an animal there and, not attacked because they're entering a home insecure. We would know because we'll have the list of all of those registered animals here within the village, which we currently have not been very proactive in keeping back. So we just want to be active with what we, issuing.
Okay.
Trustee Tierney?
Nothing.
Trustee Hunt?
Nothing.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Roll call, Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustees Jones and Brown Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda. Item I, a resolution waiving a requirement for a landscaping island in the enlarged north parking lot at the Broadview Village Municipal Building for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Tierney. Madam President, this is now open for discussion.
Thank you. The purpose of this resolution is to waive the requirement for a landscaping island and enlarge north parking lot at the village, at the Broadview Village Municipal Building. Section 10-8-4I2J of Broadview Village Code provides that due to the dense urban character and limited developable land available within the village, the Board of Trustees may modify or waive any provision of these landscaping standards based on specific site limitations and the recommendation of the Development Review Committee. This is part of the 911 project, so Commissioner Upshaw, if you want to elaborate on exactly what
Yes, as we move forward with the 911 project and the Village Hall project, we found out that when we were looking at the plans and developing the parking lot, that the north parking lot, and we were looking at the code, that the code specifically requires that all off-street parking lots with 20 or more spaces include a landscaping island of a minimum of 100 square feet for every 20 spaces. Such a requirement in the enlarged parking lot would inhibit the ability to accommodate our village and the 911 center. And to make a long story short, with the 911 center, we wanted to expand our parking lot. And we can do that by the elimination of the island, and that will give us some additional parking spaces, and it will allow us to improve our vehicular turn radius and provide safer conditions in terms of snow removal. And based on our village code that the mayor mentioned, 10-4 or 10-8-4J, as it relates to landscaping, that the Board of Trustees has the right to modify or waive any provisions of the landscaping standards based on specific site limitations and recommendations of the Development Committee.
Does the zoning board have to sign off on this also, or you're thinking that the village board can approve it in its kind?
It is just the Development Committee and the Village Board according to our village code.
Nothing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm done.
Trustee Egan?
None.
Thank you. Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am. Madam President, roll call, Trustee Ely,
Yes.
Trustee Tierney,
Yes.
Trustee Horn,
Yes.
Trustee Abraham,
Yes.
Trustees Jones and Bramarino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda. Item J, a motion to approve a block party permit request for the 2500 block of 14th Avenue on July 4th, 2018, from 10 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Tierney. Madam President, open for discussion.
Thank you. Trustee Egan?
No comments, self-explanatory.
Trustee Tierney?
Nope, is there anybody here from that neighborhood?
Trustee Horn?
Nothing.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Roll call, please.
Roll call, Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Jones and Bramarino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. Next item on the agenda, item K, a motion to approve a block party permit request for the 900 block of 15th Street on August 11th, 2018, from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Abraham, seconded by Trustee Tierney, and just for the record, although the agenda or the item says 15th Avenue, not to be confused with 15th Street. This is on 15th Street, the east-west street between the blocks of 9th Avenue and 10th Avenue.
So it should be
Okay.
15th Street.
Pardon?
It should be
15th Street, yes. And it's open for discussion, Madam President.
Trustee Egan?
No comment, no question.
Trustee Tierney? Trustee
You know, only one question is for actually both. When they have the block club parties, what do we have in place related to the music? I mean, they can just play music at any volume that they want?
We're not going past what Randy says it relates to the village.
They're done by eight.
Or,
One
say
is
that, I'm
done by
sorry.
10.
Done by eight. I think the ordinance is about.
Right. So we have the noise ordinance, so they both in compliance with the ordinance ordinance.
Okay. That was it.
And it
Thank you.
goes to the safety committee first,
Okay.
which the chair is the chief of police. Okay.
All right, just because, you know, people trying to go to sleep. I know I don't like loud music, but go ahead. So,
They're usually respectful.
None.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, roll call. Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Ely.
Yes.
And this carries 4-0, Madam President. Item L, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Justin Dearborn of Chicago Tribune, LLC, doing business as Chicago Tribune, located at 2122-24 Roberts Drive for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
I make a motion to approve that request.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Tierney, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President, this is open for discussion.
Trustee Tierney, you have, the business license in front of you, want to tell us more about it?
Yes, this is the Chicago Tribune Company. They're going to be at 2122 to 2124 Roberts Road. This is going to be a warehouse for newspapers where they're going to deliver at night and then be distributed in the morning. So, everything looks in order. They've got all the proper paperwork from the state. They've got the inspectors have been out there, so everything looks good.
Thank you, trustee Ely.
No comment.
Trustee Tierney.
Nothing.
Trustee Hunt.
Nothing.
Trustee Abraham.
None.
Roll call, please.
Yes, ma'am. Roll call. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Jones and Brum Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0.
Thank you. Is there anyone from Chicago Tribune in the audience? Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk.
All right. Next item on the agenda, item M, consideration of an application for a business license requested by Sang Lee or Sang Lai of Ace Lips Ltd., doing business as Ace Lips, located at 2209 Terry Lane West for the Village of Broadview, County of Cook, State of Illinois.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Tierney, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Open for discussion, Madam President.
Trustee Tierney, you want to read the?
Okay.
business?
This is an online business out of the home of Sang Lee, 220909 Terry Lane West. It's a online service for cosmetics and lipstick and that type of stuff. Everything that you needed to report, that we required, has been applied for and submitted. So I don't see any problems with it.
Okay, thank you, trustee Ely.
No comment.
Trustee Tierney.
Nothing.
Trustee Hunt.
Nothing.
Trustee Abraham.
None.
Can we get a roll call, please?
Yes, ma'am, Madam President. Roll call. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustees Jones and Brum Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, item 9, application for the authority to expend funds totaling $59,610.
I'll make a
Move.
motion.
No. Move to approve.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by Trustee Ely, seconded by Trustee Abraham. Madam President, there's only one item here. Open for discussion.
Thank you. Just so the trustees know, the purchase order to purchase the, Ford Utility Interceptor, which is the SUV and the sedan in the police department is in the budget for, the police department. Trustee Ely?
Correct. I was going to state just that. They were budgeted for, they were ordered. It's expected to keep our fleet fresh and is needed.
Any idea when they'll be received? I have nothing else.
Trustee Hunt?
Nothing.
Trustee Abraham?
None.
Mr. Clerk?
Roll call. Trustee Ely.
Yes.
Trustee Tierney.
Yes.
Trustee Horn.
Yes.
Trustee Abraham.
Yes.
Trustee Jones and Brum Marino are absent. Madam President, this carries 4-0. All right, next item on the agenda, item 10, Village Clerk. Just wanted to mention the annual WCMC Awards Dinner that took place last week. I attended with Mayor Thompson and Village Administrator Jones, and it was a lovely outing as always. It's always good to meet new people and rub elbows with others. We had our guest speaker as Cheryl, what is Cheryl's last name? Cheryl Scott from Channel 7 News. She's a meteorologist, and it was very, very nice. And it's always good to network with our other villages. So that's a very important event that we take part in every year. And with that being said, Madam President, I didn't have anything else for my report.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Item 11, Village President, Mayor Thompson.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. I just want to say today, I've been sad the whole day. Those that knew Cynthia Tidwell, the recreational supervisor at the Broadview Park District, her family laid her to rest today, so, and she was a really close friend of mine. So, just wanted to give my deepest sympathy to her family. She had 4 adult children and 6 grandchildren. So it's been an emotional day for me, so I just wished her family nothing but good wishes. And we've extended Mario condemnation on behalf of the village. So just keep her family in your prayers as they go through this transition of the loss of their mother. Cynthia was truly a pillar in Broadview. When you talk about a servant, she loved Broadview. Loved Broadview. And she did it. She didn't know how to tell people no. She was so giving, so compassionate. So it's just, she's gonna be greatly missed. She was a great access to the Broadview Park District, a huge access. So the new recreational supervisor, we just wanna give her God blessing that she can step up to the plate because she would never be able to fill those shoes. No one will never be able to fill those shoes. So we just wanna pray for the new recreational supervisor. When we talk about partnerships, and as you all know, I'm the former executive director at the Park District. And Director Davis and I, it's just funny, we have this relationship that's just so phenomenal. And when we talk about building good partnerships with our other taxing bodies, and our other taxing bodies would be our library, our Park District, and our local schools. And we've been working very hard, at least I know, I've been working very hard as departments work in their respective areas. I've been working hard to build those relationships. And so every quarter, the superintendents for the local schools, we meet every quarter here at Village Hall, and we talk about how we can impact and shake up the community to give our students the best education with the limited resources that the schools have. And it's been a very transparent and authentic conversation, and we respect our views on each half because, as we know, schools are the bulk of our property taxes. And so we've been having that dialogue, and it's just amazing that the superintendents are so receptive to the direction and the vision that the village is going in as we educate our students, whether they in primary or secondary school. So I just wanted to share that with you guys. Partnerships at that level is huge, and that's how transformation happens in a community when you have that open line of communication at all levels. Director Davis, he had an event on Saturday, so today after the service, at this level, we've never had that relationship. Even when I was the director with the former mayor, we never had that open line of communication as it relates to sharing information. But we should be sharing the information that we have so that those entities can have some great success because they are in our community, right? So he came up to me and he said he just thanked me for giving him the resource for the robocall because they had an event at the Park District, and because of that robocall, he said people didn't even want to go home. They had so much fun and they were so glad that they opened and that they knew about it and was able to attend. That says a lot about the relationships that we now are breaking down, that stagnant, and breaking down the walls to be open and transparent and hold accountability across the board. So I'm very grateful for that type of relationship because that's huge for Broadview. Broadview is blessed, and I said it today. Broadview is so blessed that we don't even know how blessed we are. We don't even know how blessed we are. So continue to pray, not just for me, but the other elected officials that I legislate with. Continue to pray for our department heads because they work so hard on behalf of this great village. They work so hard, and we get so much negativity that attack us on a regular basis. But we work hard, and we're not being we're not being arrogant or have an ego or boasting, but we have the favor of God upon us. And once people recognize the favor that we have, favor is not fair, and we understand that. But I thank God that He's blessed this village to have me as the leader. You know, we have constituent services, so anything as it relates that, you know, if it's a significant birthday coming up for a senior, we want to highlight them. If it's something with a veteran and they getting some recognition at their level for serving in our military, we want to recognize them. We just want to do above and beyond, because the whole message for me is people over politics, and excellence is nothing but the standard for this room. So we're going to work in excellence in every capacity that we can, and we're going to do due diligence. We're going to be committed to being transparent. We're going to be committed to being honest. We're going to be committed to being respectful. But we are not going to be committed to others that disrespect us indirectly. We have our first health care coming up on July 30th? No, July 14th, I'm sorry. And it's going to be so huge. We have so many vendors that's going to do some amazing things like massages. We want the whole community to come out and be engaged. Our fabulous fire department is going to be doing the blood pressure screening. So it's just part of being engaged with the community and connected to the people that service you every day. So we invite you all out to come and participate in that. And as it relates to the robocalls, I believe I've talked to probably maybe 30 people. And every person that I spoke to as it relates to the chief doing robocalls for the village stickers, they was grateful for the reminder. The lines was out the door because people forget. But they did, they came, they thanked us for doing that robocall. Because if not, the police would have been issuing citations. They would have been getting double fine for double the sticker. The cost goes up double. So they was grateful for that. As it relates to the fire department and the robocalls, as it relates to the things that Chief Kenny is doing, they appreciate those calls and they appreciate the reminders. We're not trying to burden you with all of the robocalls, because the message is one day we're going to be at the point where we don't have to be robocall, because you guys will pay attention to all the great things that we're doing in this village. And it's just going to be automatic that you just show up where we won't have to send reminders. That's the message that I want to send, that we don't have to do robocalls for reminders, because you guys are just that happy with the events and the engagement that we are being committed to the village of Broadview. So you might get some robocalls over this summer, because we have a lot of things taking place, community events. But the message is being said that we're being progressive and we're being aggressive to giving you the best legislative body that we possibly know how to do. So with that being said, I just want to say God bless you. I appreciate everybody in the village, and I love the village of Broadview. Amen, and God bless you. Have a good night.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly motioned by trustee Tierney and seconded by trustee Abraham to adjourn at 9:16 p.m. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Hearing no opposition, we are now adjourned at 9:16 p.m.